She came home after 10 and tossed her keys on the island like I wasn't there. No hello. No kiss. Just that flat, bored look. What's with the ghost routine? I kept my voice normal. I was plating up the salmon I'd made because she liked it that way. Lemon, dill, nothing fancy. Don't start, Lauren said, reaching for sparkling water. You're always right there. Where else would I be? It's our kitchen. She cracked the can. Exactly. That one word did more damage than a shout. I tried again. Did something happen? Work? Us. You've been icy for a month. Talk to me like an adult. She took a sip, eyes on the fridge magnets. You're reading into things, Nate. Chill. I'm asking for clarity. You're acting needy. She smiled without warmth. It's not attractive. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have skipped the dill and lit a fuse instead. I set her plate down, pulled out a chair. Sit. Eat. Then we can figure out why my wife thinks I'm needy for wanting a conversation. She stayed standing. Stop pushing. It's annoying. I'm not pushing. I'm married. Congratulations, she muttered, grabbed a fork, and walked to the couch with the plate like we were roommates who barely tolerated each other. I followed with mine. We used to sit at the table. She didn't look away from her phone. We used to do a lot of things. I kept the rest to myself, finished dinner, and did the dishes while she laughed at her screen at jokes I wasn't invited to. No story. No explanation. Just colder air. The next week, I doubled down like an earnest fool. Flowers delivered to her office. A reservation at her favorite bistro. I even borrowed my sister's recipe and made her a ridiculous skillet cookie with ice cream melting down the sides. I set it on the table like a peace offering. Lauren glanced over. Trying too hard. Trying is bad now. It's desperate. Since when? She shrugged. Since now. I learned something important in that moment. Attention without respect is cheap. And I was paying full price. The following Saturday, I tried the straight talk. We were in the garage. I was tightening the loose handle on her bike. Look, I need you to hear me, I said, checking the wrench. You've been cold, dismissive. You walk in late, you walk out early. If you want out, say it in English. She leaned on the doorframe, arms crossed. Why are you so dramatic? People get busy. Busy doing what? Don't interrogate me. I'm asking for a reason. You're clingy. She pushed off the frame. It's gross. Try again, I said, very calm. Give me an adult answer. She walked inside and turned on the TV louder than necessary. Conversation over. By Monday, sarcasm replaced silence. She mocked the way I folded towels. She rolled her eyes at my gym bag near the door. Small things, but she made them weapons. At dinner with friends that week, she went public. We were at Miguel and Aaron's, casual tacos. Miguel cracked a joke about my old pickup, and Lauren jumped in. Don't get Nate started on the truck, she said, waving her hand. He loves that heap more than me. He'll polish the fender like it's a trophy, but forget our anniversary. I looked at her. We went to the lake for our anniversary. She smirked. Right. The lake with the bugs and his sacred grill. So romantic. Miguel tried to change the subject. Aaron coughed into her napkin. I put down my tortilla and met Lauren's eyes. If you're going to take a shot, at least hit the truth. Or do we save that for when your audience is bigger? She leaned back. Touchy. See, he can't take a joke. It wasn't a joke. It was a dig. Learn the difference. Aaron jumped in with a story about her office to blow the smoke away. On the drive home, Lauren stared out the window like I wasn't there. At the house, she went straight to the shower and then pretended to sleep. I lay awake and stared at the ceiling, making a list I didn't want to make. I talked to people. My buddy Troy from the shop. Miguel from next door. Even Brooke, her younger sister, who never sugar-coated anything and didn't owe me a fake smile. Troy didn't mince words. You're bending over backward. She's pushing you to see how far you'll go. Stop juggling. Miguel shrugged. You can't outgive contempt. Brooke surprised me by calling it straight. We met at a diner near her campus. She's in nursing school, direct as a scalpel. Nate, I love my sister, but she's treating you like a placeholder. Don't let her rehearse leaving on your time. That's rough. It's reality. You're a good man. Don't let her make you her practice swing. Even with the chorus in my ear, I still wanted to fix what I'd built. Habit is powerful. History is heavy. I gave Lauren one more clean shot at honesty. I made dinner precisely the way she liked it. Again. Candle, quiet music, no phones on the table. She sat down, glanced at the candle, and smirked. Date night at home. Cute. It's a conversation night, actually. I slid an envelope toward her. Inside, a letter I'd written that morning. Not a poem. Not a plea. A list of what I saw and what I needed. Respect, effort, clarity. She didn't touch the envelope. Is it a report card? Do I need a parent's signature? It's my baseline. She stabbed a piece of chicken. You always were good at lists. I'm good at lines. This is one. She chewed. And if I don't do your list? It's not a list of chores. It's a boundary. If there's nothing left here but your sarcasm, then we stop pretending. She took a breath like she might actually speak. Then her phone lit up, and she smiled. The real one. The one she used to give me. And the moment passed. Work? I asked. Doesn't matter. She stood, grabbed her bag. I'm meeting Jenna for a drink. Now. It's not a crime. Jenna lives in Phoenix, I said. So unless she's teleporting. Lauren was already at the door. Don't wait up. That was the night I stopped giving speeches. The next morning I executed my first initiative. No theater. No threat. Logistics. I moved my things to the guest room. I split the bank accounts, my salary to a new checking, our shared bills covered automatically from the old one at the usual amount. I took my garage remote off her visor and left my spare house key on the hook, then changed the keypad code and texted her the new one with a short note. House code updated for security. Your access unchanged. Also, I wouldn't be available for evening small talk for a while. Extra hours at the shop, new training schedule at the gym, calendar blocked. When she got home and found my clothes gone from the master, she stood in the doorway of the guest room like a landlord doing an inspection. What is this? She gestured at my folded stacks on the dresser. Space, I said. It helps me think. So dramatic. It's practical. She looked at the empty side of the master closet down the hall. Are you punishing me? No. I'm adjusting to reality. She laughed once. Because I went out with a friend? Because you clock out from us when it suits you. I'm not fighting a ghost. I'm giving you room to be honest, and I'm giving myself room to stop guessing. She leaned against the frame. You're overreacting. Probably. And yet, here we are. She started to say something else, then stopped. That night, she came home early with takeout from my favorite burger joint and set it on the table without comment. I thought you weren't hungry for small talk, she said. Almost light, almost playful. I got your usual. Mid-turn, I thought. The soft hand after the slap. Thanks, I said. I'm eating in the shop. Lots to finish. She nodded too fast. Sure. Do your thing. The next 2 days, she texted me photos of our dog from old vacations. She kissed my cheek in the morning instead of air. It almost worked. My guard loosened an inch. Then she started disappearing again. This time without even the courtesy of a creative excuse. Wednesday, she walked in at 1:10 a.m. sneakers in her hand, like she was a teenager sneaking past curfew. I was at the kitchen table with invoices and a cup of tea. Training run. I asked dry. She flinched seeing me. Couldn't sleep. You just got your cardio. Don't be weird. Who's Jenna tonight? I glanced at my watch. The key must be at the bottom of your bag. Nate, stop it. Stop what exactly? You're smothering. You moved out of our room, and now you want to play detective? I stared at the invoices. No, I want to live with a person I recognize. She said nothing, then went to shower. The smell of unfamiliar cologne drifted past me like a message written in permanent ink. I called Cal the next morning. He's a private investigator we use sometimes at the shop when a vehicle goes missing and the paperwork gets messy. He's discreet, efficient, and allergic to drama. I need clarity, I told him. 2 days. Follow her after work. If there's nothing, I'll eat the retainer and sleep better. If there's something, I'll stop being generous. Cal didn't ask for a speech. Send me her plate, her office address, usual hangouts. I wired the money. I went to work. I shut my mouth. The shop kept me busy. I run a small maintenance crew for a distribution warehouse. Forklifts in, forklifts out, nothing glamorous, but I control the chaos. My guys, Troy with the loud laugh, quiet Andre who can fix anything with a paperclip, watch me like I was carrying something heavy and pretending it was a feather. You good? Troy asked. I'm better than the floor. You need a couch and football later? Not yet. 17 hours after Cal started, I got his first text. A photo of Lauren in a hoodie, stepping into a silver sedan that wasn't ours, with a man whose hand understood her lower back like it had a lease. Then more photos, different angles, a walk down a tree-lined street to a townhouse, a light on in an upstairs window. 10 minutes later, both of them at a late-night diner counter, laughing at their private joke, his mouth close to her ear. Cal sent the name of the man, the address, the hours. He didn't comment. He didn't have to. When I put the phone down, the only thing I felt was the click of a lock turning inside me. No fire. No speech. Just the shape of a decision. I met Dan that afternoon. He's a lawyer I know from pickup basketball and barbecues, smarter than he looks, ruthless in spreadsheets, not in theatrics. We sat in his office and I slid the file across. Cal's photos, timestamps, addresses, my notes. I'm not here to argue morality. I told Dan, I want clean separation, fast. I'm not burning the house down. I'm not playing games with the dog or the furniture. I just want the exit sign lit and the path clear. Dan took a minute to review. This is thorough. I run logistics. He tapped the desk. All right. With this, we file. You have a strong position on property division. We'll set it up so it's efficient. My recommendation, don't tell her we filed until paperwork is ready and served. No previews. Because previews invite sabotage. You want the train on the rails. I'll handle the signals. Done. I'm going to ask something else, Dan added. Stop performing kindness that will be used as evidence of reconciliation. Hold your line. I was polite already, I said. I can switch that off. He smiled. Good. I drove home, let myself in, and made dinner for one. When Lauren came in, she gave me a long look, like she'd practiced sympathy in the mirror. Nate, she began, gentle for the first time in weeks. I've been thinking. I'm sorry I've been off. Work's been wild. I haven't prioritized us. Noted, I said, rinsing a plate. I want to do better. Great. Start with not lying to me. She paused. I'm not lying. I dried my hands on a towel. Then you won't mind me opting out of field trips I'm not invited to. Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm not begging for the privilege of being ignored in my own house. I gestured toward the calendar. I've blocked out my evenings. Gym, work, paperwork. Don't wait up. She tried to smile. You're mad. That's fair. Let me make it up to you. Friday I'll cook. We'll watch something dumb. No phones. I have a training on Friday, I said, which was technically true, training in detachment. Enjoy your night. She stood there a moment, weighing whether to push harder, then went to the bedroom and closed the door. 2 days later, Dan texted that the documents were drafted and filed. Hold steady, he wrote. Don't announce. We'll do service quiet. I kept my routine. I didn't chase. I didn't explain. I told Troy and Miguel and Brooke what I'd done, and they all said the same thing. Finally, Brooke added, you did what you could. The rest isn't yours. A month ticked by like a slow metronome. Lauren cycled through moods, saccharine one day, sharp the next, then distant. She stopped staying out as late, but not out of care. She planted a new schedule that fit her other life. I didn't argue. I didn't volunteer information. The service would come when it came. Meanwhile, we had an obligation on the calendar we couldn't dodge, her parents' anniversary dinner. Her folks, Jim and Carol, are old-school Midwestern polite. 50 years together, the kind of marriage built on repetition and honest chores. I respected them. I didn't want to bring my mess to their table. Lauren spent the afternoon getting ready like nothing was strange. I put on a clean button-down and drove the two of us in my unglamorous truck. On the ride, she scrolled through her phone, laughed once, and turned the screen away from me like we were teenagers who'd just started dating and didn't trust each other. At the house, Carol hugged us with oven-mitt hands. Jim handed me a beer and patted my shoulder like he knew men don't always say what they need to say. Brooke was already there, leaning on the kitchen counter, eyes on me. She mouthed, "You good?" I gave half a nod. She watched Lauren clip-clop through the living room like a guest in her own family's home. Dinner started warm. Stories from the early years. Carol telling how Jim proposed with a ring he bought by selling his high school trumpet. Jim pretending he didn't cry when their first kid was born. It was nice. It was normal. Lauren changed the temperature. She started in on me like she was tuning up at a rehearsal. "Nate's become a monk," she announced, smiling at the table. "He moved into the guest room. Says it helps him think." She made air quotes. Carol blinked. "Oh, I didn't take the bait." I cut into the roast and said, "Space is productive." Lauren wasn't done. "He's also married to the gym now. And spreadsheets. Very romantic." Jim cleared his throat. "We don't need play-by-plays, honey. I'm sharing," Lauren said. "Isn't that what you always wanted? Communication." She looked at me. "Communicate, Nate." Brooke set down her fork. "Why are you poking him?" Lauren rolled her eyes. "Don't start, Brooke." "I'm starting," Brooke said, leaning forward. "Leave him alone. Lauren laughed. Look at you, little defender. You've always had a crush. Brooke didn't blink. At least I respect him. Carol stood halfway, panicked. Girls. I'm fine, I told Carol. Really? I turned to Lauren. If you need to perform, pick a bigger stage. This isn't it. She curled her lip. Don't be sensitive. Respectful, I corrected. Different word. Jim put his fork down. We brought you here to celebrate us, not break something you two should have fixed months ago. Lauren shrugged. I'm just saying he's become impossible. Brooke's chair scraped. She was done with polite. Then end it. Stop using him for stability while you sample other possibilities. The room froze. Lauren stared like Brooke had slapped her. What did you say? Lauren hissed. You heard me. Carol looked from one to the other, confused and sick. Jim's jaw set. This was not an anniversary story. This was a confession that wasn't supposed to happen. Lauren pushed her plate away. You're making things up to hurt me. Brooke barked a laugh. Please. If you want to be with someone else, be with them. But stop humiliating him. Lauren stood. You're jealous. You always have been. Brooke stood too. Jealous? Of what? Your calendar? Your late night tours? Grow up. Enough, Jim said. A command, not a plea. Lauren's face changed. She realized she had overplayed. She tried another pivot, softening, the kind of I didn't mean it tone she used to close arguments without solving them. Can we not do this here? She asked, sweet now. This is Mom and Dad's night. Nate and I are fine. Brooke laughed through her nose. You are not fine. I reached into my jacket and pulled out the packet Dan had given me that morning. Everything was in there. Filing confirmation. Dates. The evidence. I set it on the table, not like a grenade, but like a fact. Actually, I said, eyes on Brooke for a second of gratitude for her spine, I'm already free. Carol covered her mouth. Jim stared at the packet as if he could wish it into a recipe. Brooke exhaled, a hard, relieved breath. Lauren's hands hung at her sides like she'd forgotten what to do with them. You filed? Jim asked, voice even. I nodded. A month ago. Papers are in motion. Lauren blinked. Without telling me, without giving you a preview, I said. I was advised not to share drafts with people who like to improvise. You can't be serious, she whispered. This is intense. No, it's clear. She turned to her mother for help. Mom. Carol didn't rally. Lauren, what is going on? Lauren worked her jaw. He's making me the bad guy. Jim didn't blink. Are you? Lauren's answer was silence. She retreated to accusation. Nate, you're cruel. You wanted to embarrass me. I stood. I didn't want to do any of this here. I planned to hand you the papers at home and wish your parents a happy 50 years in peace. But you brought our mess to their table like it was dessert, so I set the plate down. I never. Brooke cut in, voice steady. You did. Jim looked at me. Son, I'm sorry. You don't owe me an apology, I said. You raised your daughter. She made choices. I made mine. Lauren reached across the table for the packet. I put a hand on it first. Don't bother looking for loopholes. There aren't any. Her eyes flashed. You think you can lock me out? I can and I did. While we're on logistics, don't come back to my house tonight. I'll send your essentials to this address tomorrow. I slid a small card across with her parents' address written on it. Everything else will follow. I'm done explaining. I'm done begging. I'm done being your safety net. Carol whispered, baby. Lauren sat down like her legs got a new memo. She didn't cry. She looked small because she finally ran out of performances and had to sit in silence with the people who know the difference. I turned to Jim and Carol. I'm sorry I brought a storm to your celebration. You both deserved a clean night. You've been good to me. Thank you for that. We love you, Carol said, voice breaking. I know. I told her, meant it, and left my napkin on my chair. On the porch, Brooke followed me out. The evening was cool and honest. You okay? She asked. I leaned on the banister. This part? It's the easy part. The hard part was pretending not to see what was in front of me. She nodded. You did the right thing. I did the necessary thing. I pulled my keys out of my pocket, and she caught my elbow. Don't drive mad. I'm not mad, I said, and it surprised me to realize it was true. I'm done. She squeezed my arm and dropped her hand. If you want company so your house isn't quiet, I can swing by later. I don't need comfort, I said calm. I already grieved what I thought I had. But if you want to stop by for a drink with friends, that's different. Her eyebrows lifted. A drink. I'm calling the guys. We're marking an exit, not a funeral. Brooke smiled for the first time that night. Then I'm in. I walked to the truck. In the front window, I saw Carol crying softly and Jim with his hand on her back. Lauren stared at the table. Good. Let her sit with the mirror. I called Miguel and Troy and Andre from the driveway. At my place, I said. Tonight. Miguel whistled. It happened. It happened. We bringing food or opinions? Troy asked. Both. By the time I got home, Miguel had already dropped off wings and soda. Troy brought a speaker. Andre showed up with chips and the quiet kind of loyalty that doesn't need to be announced. Brooke arrived last, hair up, sweatshirt on, like a friend, not a headline. I opened the door and stepped aside. What are we celebrating? Troy asked, setting the speaker on the counter. My freedom to stop arguing with weather, I said. We ate. We didn't turn it into a therapy session. We told dumb stories. We listened to music. We remembered that life exists outside someone else's agenda. When people say relief is a negative space, they're right. You only see it when the weight is gone. Near midnight, I stood on a chair with a glass of water because I'm not giving alcohol the credit for my clarity. Quick toast, I said. You all told me to get out a month ago. You were right. I wanted to save a picture instead of a person. That was on me. I'm done acting like a volunteer for my own discomfort. Thanks for the backbone loans. Miguel thumped the counter. To Nate being Nate again. To respect, Andre added quietly. Brooke watched me like she was learning my face and the light in the same frame. People drifted out near one. I walked them to the door one by one with a hug or a handshake. When the house was quiet except for the ice settling in the freezer, Brooke stayed on the couch. Can I say something that might complicate your night? She asked. You can say anything. She looked at her hands. I've always liked you. Not the marry me way. The you're solid way. And now the other way too. She forced a laugh. I've been quiet because, you know, boundaries and all that. I sat next to her, not too close. You're honest. That matters. She nodded. I don't expect anything. I know the timing is awful. It's not awful, I said. It's early. Those are different. She turned to me. So what do we do with that? We do nothing right now. I said, gentle. I like you, Brooke. You're sharp. You're kind. I'm not ready to offer anyone anything worth having. When I am, I'll call you first. If you've moved on by then, I'll clap for you. She smiled, a little sad, a lot relieved. That's fair. I don't do almosts anymore, I added. You deserve better than being a bridge. Thank you, she said, and she meant it. She stood and kissed my cheek in the sort of way that isn't a move, it's a promise to be decent. Get some sleep, monk. Text me when you're home, I told her. When the door closed, the silence wasn't heavy. It was mine. Over the next months, life became simple again. Dan handled the paperwork like a mechanic who knows every bolt by feel. Lauren tried a few times to open a side door. Long texts about memories, a coffee coupon slid into my mailbox, a picture of our dog with "Miss This" underneath. I didn't answer. She came by once when she knew I'd be at work and left a note on the mat. I folded it and put it in the shredder without reading because I'm done negotiating with people who only apologize to reset the game. Miguel and I started running a pickup league at the rec center on Thursdays. Troy got me on a fishing kick that was more sitting on a dock and talking than actually catching anything. Andre helped me redo the guest room into a small office because I like clean lines and not sleeping next to history. Brooke and I saw each other often in a way that felt sane. Coffee after her clinicals. A movie on a Tuesday with separate cars. A walk where we talked about nothing important and everything that makes life easy. We didn't hold hands. We didn't pretend. We built a friendship like adults who know friendship isn't a consolation prize. It's the foundation if you're lucky later. The divorce finalized with an email from Dan and a thick envelope I didn't open at my desk. I drove to the bluff above the river, parked, and read it there in the quiet. No surprises. The house was mine. The accounts were clean. The dog was with me because she'd surrendered the time when she surrendered the house. No drama. No speeches. Lauren tried one more time after that. 2 paragraphs about learning, about second chances. She wanted to meet. She wanted to talk. I archived the message. Not blocked. Not angry. Just done. You don't have to slam a door to close it. You can swing it shut and lock it with a key that has your name on it. A week later, I saw her across a grocery store aisle with a cart full of single-serve meals and a face I recognized. Someone who miscalculated the exchange rate of respect. I didn't say hi. I didn't speed up. I turned down the next aisle and bought paper towels like a man living an ordinary, excellent life. Now, I get up early because my house likes it that way. The yard looks better. The truck runs cleaner. I got promoted at the warehouse, operations lead, more responsibility, the kind that matches my temperament. On Saturdays, we throw burgers on the grill and tell the same stories because repetition isn't boring when you choose it. As for Brooke, this week I'm asking her to a real dinner. Not a hang, not a maybe. A date, clear as a bell. I'm not offering a fix. I'm offering myself, with my life in order and my eyes open. I drove by her parents' place yesterday to drop off a box of Lauren's winter coats I found in the attic. Jim was trimming the hedge. He waved me over. "You look good," he said. "I feel precise," I told him. "Lauren said you wouldn't talk to her." "That's correct." He nodded. "You did right by my family for a long time. I won't forget that." "I didn't do it for points," I said. "I know," he said. He wiped his hands on his jeans. "Brooke, you'll be home in an hour." "I know her schedule," I said, and he smiled like he approved. Driving away, I thought about the night in his dining room when I put the packet on the table. People think the satisfying part is the slam, the dramatic exit. It isn't. It's the clean simplicity afterward, the quiet you don't have to share with someone who turns it into absence. There's a difference between being alone and being free. I used to be afraid of the first and addicted to the second without admitting it. Now I know the difference. I build a life that doesn't need an audience. If someone wants to walk into it, they walk with respect. If not, the door stays closed, and I sleep great. When I text Brooke later, I'll keep it simple. Dinner Friday at 7. Real date. No gray areas. And if she says yes, I'll be there early because that's who I am. If she says no, I'll go anyway and eat the food and enjoy my company. Either way, I'm good. And Lauren? She'll keep learning the hard way that control without respect is an empty muscle. She'll find out that when you make home a stage, the audience leaves. She'll see that some men don't shout, they just change the locks and keep driving. That isn't payback. It's maintenance. It's the work of a man who finally understands the line between love and self-respect and chooses the latter every time. Because without it, the former doesn't mean a thing.